Hello and welcome to We Never Met, the podcast where I have interesting strangers on every single week. Today we got... sorry, I caught you mid-sip. I caught you mid-sip of water.
Oh, Sean Lehner.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. I'm actually kind of nervous, though.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, this is new for me.
Okay.
You're a professional at this. This is like over
I'm not
50.
I'm hardly a professional, but...
Probably much better than me, but...
But you've never done any, like, sit-down sort of interviews with people?
No.
Really?
Not, at least not, like, about music. I've done interviews in my life, for sure.
Yeah.
For jobs and stuff like that, but nothing
music related. Yeah, which is crazy because you are the lead singer, the front man of the band Fuzzysurf, which is interesting because essentially you were only in the band at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
It was just you.
Yeah.
And then you auditioned people to be in it. Is that right?
Yeah. It was a big facade.
It was just you. It's like Passenger, you know how he goes by Passenger, but it's only him.
Yeah. It was just like a little project and stuff. Like, I guess, I was kind of so I guess, let me go back to like what made me form like a band, I guess, with that. So just immediately was like, I was making this music under this like moniker Fuzzysurf. I did like an EP. Yeah. I just kind of showed some friends and stuff like that. And then people thought it was kind of cool. And so then I did like kind of another album that I just had some like songs I did. And then I was driving to work one morning and I was listening to 88.9 because I listen to 88.9. And then I'm just like, oh, and then Dory Zori's talking and she's like, oh, and this next band is from Milwaukee and it's Fuzzysurf. And they started playing our song Hometown Feeling, which is off our first album. Yeah. And I was just like, what the? So I like called my wife immediately. I'm like, Jamie, I'm on the radio right now. She's like, what? And I'm like, I don't know how this happened.
How did
so it was awesome. Oh, I sent some stuff like out to 88.9 like months before, just kind of like as like a, let's just see like kind of what happened. Yeah, so I was doing this stuff and like, I don't really know the internet game for like doing music and stuff like that. Sure. It's just, I was creating, I wasn't really thinking about like a business side of stuff, which is, there definitely is.
Right.
And I'm like learning on the spot, kind of seat of my pants type stuff with that. Yeah. But it just kind of did that. And then I was looking to kind of form a band and dip my toes in the water in that aspect. And then kind of that, when I heard on the radio, I was like, oh, I guess it is somewhat good enough maybe. Yeah. Because before it was just like a passion project type thing.
Right. So that first, when they played your song on the radio, you produced pretty much all of it, right? You did the drums, the guitar for that song and that album in general. Yeah. So
I didn't mix and master it.
Right.
I sent it to a local guy, Michael Wenz, who actually does like typically like techno and house music. Okay. But I was kind of just looking for someone that would do something different. I was just like, well, he doesn't like do rock music, so maybe it'll make my music sound a little bit different, like just maybe like janky or something. I don't know.
Did you think it did? Like, do you think that?
I think it was fine. Yeah, no, I liked what he did. So I have no complaints about that. It was pretty nice. So,
yeah. So from that point on, then did you, after that sort of release of that album, were you like, okay, I need a band, like I need other people in this?
Well, because they kept on playing the song.
Okay.
Like I heard a couple more times, like, oh Jesus, okay, like I need to have like a band because now it's just like this like nebulous thing out there. And so that was like my next step. And then
how'd you find people to do it?
Craigslist.
Really?
Yeah. So like kind of my background in music for Milwaukee is I kind of just like hung out in this, like I would go to a lot of shows. I go to a lot of shows. Okay. I go to less now just because it's harder to do. Sure. Because there was just other stuff that I had to do and stuff like that. But I was really into the scene and like going to shows. I was very like kind of would just go to shows with myself and just kind of hang out. I didn't really like interact with a lot of people just because it was kind of almost like, you know, I'm nervous. I do music too, but I don't want to be like, hey man, like really like your set. I do music too. Because then it's just like, whatever. Like, okay. Yeah. Because like, you know, you have to do something with it to make yourself seem like you're doing something with it. Right. So I just kind of studied that and I was watching like a lot of like the different music coming on in Milwaukee. And I really love Milwaukee's like music scene. Yeah. And so, you know, it's kind of funny after you see like a bunch of people playing and stuff and you start getting that weird idea in your head, you're like, I can do that. Yeah. I wonder if you've had the same thing, like with podcasting maybe.
Oh, like, I thought you meant with music. I'm like, definitely.
Yeah, no, it's the same, but it's like the same thing. Like you see someone else doing it and you're just like, you know, I can do that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it was for the music thing. So then that was basically it. I just like dipped my toes in and I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, I've been in bands in the past, but they've all been with friends and stuff.
Okay.
And so it was kind of funny because when I was first starting it, I was like hitting up my old friends from like in Chicago that I used to be in bands with. I'm like, hey man, like, you want to be in this band with me?
You want to do this
and they're
band?
just like, I live in Chicago. And I'm like, yeah, all right. Okay, cool.
So is that a pass then?
Yeah. So then I did Craigslist. It's the first time I ever went on Craigslist and ever used it, and I never used it since. But yeah, I just put out like feelers. I was like, you know what? I might be able to get away with like a trio.
Yeah.
So then I was looking for a bass player first.
Okay.
And then, I got in contact with Corey, who plays keys. He was offering to play bass with the keys, and I was just like, just play keys.
Yeah.
And then found Mike because I was looking for a drummer then. And he lives in Bayview. So I just went over to his place and jammed, and him and I had like similar music background stuff.
Are you from Chicago?
Originally from Chicago.
Okay.
Yeah.
What brought you up here?
Work, school, stuff like that. So I've been here for about 10 years.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just lurking.
Lurking and waiting.
Yeah.
So then with that, you grew up in the Chicagoland area, or in Chicago actually?
Yeah. Well, not so southwest suburb. So originally I was in Hickory Hills, grew up, and then I moved to Lamont. So then I kind of went to high school for that. And then
when you were in high school down there, you played in bands then, yeah?
Yeah, I had a band.
What was it called?
My band in high school was called Glare.
Okay. That's good. That's good. What kind of music was it?
It was like Weezery type, like power pop type stuff. Yeah. We did an EP. It was like really funny, but yeah, we did that.
Is it still out there on the internet? Or
No. All this stuff. Like I didn't even have copies. I actually had to ask my friend Rupert for like a copy of it because he has all this like old photo. Like he's the guy that has like all the old photos from high school and like
sure.
like all these tracks that I had done. Like I don't really have like any masters or anything anymore. So I think like last year I was like, hey man, do you got like that EP? Can you send it to me? And he had it. So
wow,
it's funny to listen to now for sure.
Is it very different than what you're doing?
In ways, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was still like the songwriting and stuff like that. It's just that it's progressed, obviously, because I've been doing it. So
yeah, I was gonna ask because with that project, was that like the first time you were writing music with Glare? Was that like the first, or were you doing it even before that point?
Yeah, songwriting wise, I think I just always kind of just made like little jingles when I was growing up.
Yeah,
kind of just like singing like silly stuff. Like even like my parents have like videotapes of me just like singing like stupid stuff. And so,
can you remember any of them?
No, I mean, well, yeah, but I'm not gonna sing them. No. But it's just like little like melodies and stuff. So I kind of always did that. And then I got like really, I guess in junior high, I was kind of like, my dad had played like folk music. Like I guess he played with some people.
Oh.
But like it wasn't like a real, like it wasn't like a thing.
It was like a hobby.
It was like a hobby. So he played with some people and stuff. And I remember him like playing guitar when I was younger, but then he didn't play it. Like maybe, I don't know, I was probably like getting in grade school and he just stopped playing it. And I kind of forgot about it. And then when I was getting into like music again, I did play trumpet. But then I was like looking into guitar and stuff like that and being in a band.
Yeah.
And then, I remember he had that guitar and I remember like going to take it and I was like, hey, can you like show me some like chords? And so he basically showed me some Dylan songs.
Yeah.
But just basically for the chords and stuff.
Sure.
Couldn't really sing yet or anything like that. But then two of my friends were playing guitar, or starting to play guitar, starting to play drums at the same time at school. And we're just like, let's form a band. So we didn't know anyone's songs. So then it basically just became, I would just play like stuff and I would just like sing like stuff over it. So
really?
Then, yeah. So like we didn't know how to like play other people's songs yet. So we basically did like a year of that where we were just playing like these like basement songs of stuff that I was like writing. They're like ridiculous lyrics and just like whatever. Yeah. So that's kind of what we did. And then we got like another guy in the band and then we like actually tried to do stuff like in high school to the point that you could, but we didn't really have anyone to play with because we were by ourselves. Like no one else played in the band.
Yeah.
So we didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah.
So.
But you learned a lot, I'm sure, at that point.
Yeah. We played some school dances and
really?
Yeah, that was like terrible. If you're a rock band and you're playing a school dance, like if you don't know dance songs, don't play it.
Well, you were also in high school though. Were you playing for high schoolers at dance?
Yeah. It was like the one time
tough.
Yeah, it was like the one time we got asked to do it, and we were like so pumped about it. We're like, oh, okay, we got to play like 3 hours of music. So like, we're like busting our like ass off, like trying to learn all these like covers and stuff.
Right.
And yeah, it was probably I mean, we thought it was probably fine at the time, but it's probably was terrible.
I mean, that's a tough crowd in general. High schoolers are a tough crowd.
Yeah.
So if you're a high schooler also playing to high schoolers, it's tough.
It was tough, but it was fun.
Yeah.
Learning experience. I mean, fail and you get it back up and try. So,
So was there a portion, like, so when you moved or when you came here to Milwaukee, were you consistently still playing music or did you take a break for a while?
No, I stopped. So I did music, like kind of dabbling in like college and stuff, but I always had this like hang up of like, I've never been in a band without like my friends. And so I never really put myself out there and formed like just something completely new. So I did kind of, maybe this kind of coincides with Fuzzysurf, but in college, I was like, Gorillas.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's Damon Albarn and it's like Jamie, the cartoonist and stuff. So, but it's like a fake band, but I liked that idea. So I started recording some songs and I just gave it to friends. And then like that summer I came back from my first year of college, like I had a bunch of friends that were like, hey, let's play the songs and make this like a real band.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. So then I did that for college, and that was like emo screamo band.
Okay.
Completely
was that
different.
Was that under the moniker though, Fuzzysurf? Or
No, that's completely different. Yeah, that was called Rupert in the Group, named after my buddy Rupert. He was actually not even in the band, but it was just like a rhyming thing, and so. We dabbled in a couple shows like in the Chicago scene because there was like an emo scene kind of going on and stuff. So that was fun. And then I kind of just stopped. And then like did finish school, worked. Then I started like kind of getting back into it. Probably like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, I started just spending money. I was just like, you know what? I haven't done that stuff in a long time. So I started like buying up gear. So first thing I did was buy a computer.
Yep.
The only thing I knew how to like record with before was 4-track tapes because that's what I had used.
Sure.
So the computer stuff, so I got Logic and I started learning that. And then I spent like, I mean, at least 6 months just like going to YouTube and like learning videos like how to do stuff and how to record it and stuff. And I was using a lot of my old songs that I'd done just as like practice things, like just to get better at doing it.
Right.
And I collected more gear, microphones, started learning about like sound more and stuff like that and the production side.
Yeah.
And then just started like recording all these songs.
So how did you get to the point of like where you're sort of doing like surf pop? Because if you went from emo sort of to, and then there was like a hiatus and then that, they seem like opposite sides of the spectrum.
Yeah. I kind of I like a lot of types of music.
Right. I mean, I can tell
most people do. Yeah.
Yeah.
The emo thing, I mean, I liked emo bands and stuff and I was into it, but that kind of started off as like, I was just trying to write something that I wasn't comfortable with doing. And that's kind of how that came.
Gotcha.
And then I've kind of been doing that ever since, just kind of picking things and doing it. The Fuzzysurf thing was, I don't know if I really intended it to be like a group or a band. It was just kind of, I was listening to a lot of Black Sabbath at the time, which doesn't sound like it should be Black Sabbath, but
yeah.
But I was like really getting into like Black Sabbath and like listening to that, and then getting into those like that stoner rock stuff, and then I kind of like set this challenge, and I was like, I'm gonna write, this surfy version of Black Sabbath, which I'm sure it doesn't even sound like, but that's what I was envisioning. Yeah. And I'm gonna write a song a day. I'm gonna demo that song on the same day. So that first EP, Milwaukee, was just. It's 5 songs, and I did that basically within a week.
Wow.
I mean, I re-recorded some of the stuff, but it basically was I wrote it in the morning, and I like demoed, and I played all the parts, and then I had it. So I had this thing I was sitting on, and it was kind of, I guess, I thought it was a cool song just because it was like surfy type stuff. So yeah. And then I was trying to think of like a name for it. I was just like, well, I'll just say what it sounds like.
That'll be good enough.
So yeah, that's kind of what I did.
So that was, I mean, so essentially it was like a challenge to yourself to like produce music and like sort of create and just do it. Yeah,
like something that I wasn't, I guess, doing before, because I wasn't writing songs like that. With that, I mean, I love like surf music. I love the Beach Boys. I obviously have a lot of like more vintage
influences.
Yeah, influences, but that was new for me. So
yeah, because I mean, it's interesting because that genre to me is like sort of sneaky, it's like you can write about like really depressing things, but it sounds fine. You know, it's sometimes like glosses over, you know what I mean? Because like it's so up tempo.
Yeah,
and,
I
like,
love that
fun.
type of music.
Yeah.
It's like the contradictions in it. It's just
Right, because you guys, there's a song you have recently about death.
Yeah.
And if you listen to the song, it's like very still like, you know, it's almost tricks you.
Yeah.
You know, to like listening to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel like though, is there a specific genre you prefer to write music in? Because it's, or is it doesn't matter to you really?
I think there's things I'm comfortable in doing, but I think my whole goal for stuff is to not like kind of repeat the same stuff I've been doing.
Sure.
I feel like you can get stuck if you get, I mean, the surf pop moniker helps because when we were working on the new stuff with the band, like people, if we were showing stuff, like just to get people's reactions, they'd be like, "Oh, it sounds like surfy stuff."
Yeah.
And so, I mean, our vision for the last album, Fuzzy and the Surfs, was basically to do like this, like genuine, you know, it could come off as like a parody, but it's just genuine music. They're songs I wrote, and they're the way I envisioned them sounding. But it's just like a homage to like 1960s pop.
Yeah.
You know, that's what was our point.
Yeah. And I mean, it's the songs themselves, like they're great. I think I really like it. I like the album, and like the music videos you guys come up with are just like super creative. And obviously that's, you know, in the Radio Milwaukee Awards, some of them are Denny has been nominated. Is that
Denny's the
one that was
Denny's our big one.
That was such a, I still am like impressed by that music video, like collectively.
Yeah.
The puppetry in it, like everything is just.
That was great. We had a great team.
Yeah.
With Joe Ludwig and Jamie Hazelwood and Tommy Sims. They're from Out of Tune Studios. But it was a little bit weird coming up with like the concept and stuff and then trying to explain it to the other guys about it because, I mean, it really is. They're like, what, you want us to do what?
And there's gonna be puppets.
Yeah. So
it turned out really well, though.
Yeah,
it like turned out. Really,
yeah. No, it's funny. I was talking to Mike, our drummer, and stuff about it, like just recently, and he's just like, "It's like, man, tell you the truth, man. I thought you were crazy when you were saying all it. Like, it's just like I thought it was gonna turn out terrible, and then I saw it, and I was like, oh, that's pretty good. But it could have been. It could have easily been terrible.
Yeah,
because it sounds so ridiculous. The concept of it is just ridiculous. You're just like, what?
Yeah.
Like so, but
if you could explain the concept to people that haven't seen it yet.
So the video is, well, the song and video is basically about a guy like trying, I guess, hallucinogenics for the first time.
Yeah.
And so just basically wondering what that experience is like from an outsider's view. So our video idea was basically we're like having practice. And then we get a pizza that's brought to us by this like Puppet John's, I guess you would say. And he gives us this magic pizza. We don't really realize it, and we eat it, and then we get turned into, you know, we guess we have our own trip, and we turn into these puppet versions, doppelgangers of ourselves. So How
did the like drum kit and all that stuff get made? Because
we made that.
You made that?
Yeah, we're all like. We do everything ourselves.
It's so good though.
Yeah, the puppets we had made by Ryan Lowe. He does MKE Puppet Theater. He actually made a whole movie of Moby Dick with puppets.
What?
So he's got it like on DVD and stuff. You can probably find it on the internet. But yeah, so he's local. He lives in Bayview. So I found him like on Facebook, and I was like, "Hey, you make puppets? Can you make puppets?" So he did. Yeah. So it was like he invited me over. He's like showed me his puppet collection stuff, and he's like really talented. He's got these puppets that do like all this crazy stuff. Like they've got like special effects puppets and stuff, and I'm just like, oh wow.
Yeah, they look just like you. Like they were very well done.
Yeah,
it's like
we dug them.
Yeah, it's like because you could have gone that route where it's like you kind of half-assed it, and they sort of look like you, you know.
Yeah.
But like he really did an insanely good job. So. I mean, that video, I feel like that caught on like insanely well. Like that went really well. So did that
good for us? Yeah.
Did that like change, or have you always had an idea of like you want good video concepts for your songs because it helps, or did that like change your mindset with them?
I think we wanted to do videos. We just weren't sure about how to do it. It's really daunting to do because unless you like know people to do it, like it's hard to get like, you know, you might have an idea, but it's like, where do I get started?
Yeah.
Type of thing. So, we got really lucky. Corey in our band, he plays keys, knew Joe, who's does film and stuff like that. So he met up with us, and then we kind of discussed the project, and he came up with the storyboard and stuff like that. So, and then other than that, you know, we've been doing our own like videos and stuff as well, and that's just basically because we've been like okay, we gotta like do stuff, and so it's just like none of us have any experience doing it, so it's just like learning it on the spot. So we're like going to YouTube, learning how to like do lighting, buying lights, like so we're just kind of like this self going like I don't know, machine
DIY to kind of do it yourself. I mean,
for sure. Until like, you know, we can, I don't know, hire people to do it, but I don't think that's gonna, but it's fun to do it ourselves because it's actually like, you know, you learn how to do things that you weren't doing, and so it's outside your comfort zone. So
I mean, like in there's been other videos recently that you've produced by yourself that you've done. I'm thinking there's specifically one sort of it's like a color based one.
Yeah, kind of like the album cover. Yeah. That was the first one.
Yeah. What song was that for?
That was for Please Please Me Too.
Please.
Yeah. So that was just like kind of thrown together. I basically was like, hey guys, do you have like free time? So the way our schedule works is we're like I said before, we're like flying by the seat of our pants. We don't, we're just kind of like playing catch up all the time with what we're doing. So I was like, do you guys have like this, I think it was a random Sunday. It was like in 2 weeks. I'm like, hey, do you guys have like this day open? Like maybe, I was thinking maybe we should do like some kind of music video, but I didn't really have any idea of what we're going to do. And so we planned like, I think 6 hours or something like that. We're like, oh, we're going to do this thing. So then I was like, okay, now I got to figure out how to do a music video.
Yeah, now what do we do?
And so I bought this like cheap camera for like $150, and then we got some like backdrops and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I tried to do like a storyboard thing of like what we're gonna do, and so basically we just filmed this thing and like did it like in 6 hours. And so I had it, and then I had to learn how to edit.
Yeah.
And sync up music and stuff like that. So and then we put that out for like I think right before we put our album out, but.
You're gonna be like a one-man production studio at the end of this point.
We're trying.
Yeah, because you're talking about like going to shows and stuff and sort of not talking to people. So is it hard for you personally to get up on stage and be like the front man, or is it like a different thing when you're in front of a huge crowd of people all looking at you?
I think normally, yeah. I think it's different with the guys I'm playing with because I think we're all like really comfortable with each other and like we're having fun. So, we kind of just like do what we do, and I don't really think too much about kind of playing. Yeah. It's like very like you know, you start and then you're like at the end you're like, oh geez, I played a whole set. Like you didn't realize you did it kind of thing. So it's just kind of autopilot.
Was it? Can you remember like your first ever? Was your high school dance like the first performance that you did?
The first performance I did. So I took guitar lessons for a while in like high school, and our teacher had like a recital thing, but it was like at a bar. So we're all underage. Yeah, so we're going to this bar in Blue Island. You know Blue Island in Chicago?
I don't know.
Okay. But we went to this bar or whatever, and so we're like these underage kids playing. And so that was my first experience playing.
Wow.
And
were there patrons there at the bar?
I don't even know. I don't even know if like they shut it down and said you couldn't drink or what. I mean, there were adults there because they're seeing like their kids or like, you know, their older like students and stuff like that too. But yeah, that was like our first experience. It was wild.
How was that? So, how was that?
It was fine. I broke my finger the night before.
What?
Yeah. So I had a splint on my finger, and I was, it was my you know, picking finger hand. So it wasn't that bad, but yeah, that was my experience.
Wow.
Time playing, but
do you remember what you played? Like what song?
We played an original of ours. It's called Look Around.
Very nice.
It was like, it's like.
Did it have lyrics or was it just instrumental?
No, it had lyrics.
Okay.
I was singing, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
wow.
That was my first time like singing like live.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Because you have a very, I mean, your voice is very unique, you know?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I take that as a compliment.
No, it is. It is a compliment because, you know, it's like if you sound like everyone else, like what's the point? You know, really. But yeah, if you listen to your music, you're like, oh yeah, that's Sean. He's singing. You know.
Yeah.
And so is that something you've worked on over the years, or have you always sort of had a similar voice?
I think I've probably always had a similar voice. I don't. When I say like I'm a musician, I think I'm more of a practical musician. I'm not very technically good.
What do you mean practical?
Like I can like get my way through something.
Okay.
I view myself more as like I like to write songs and stuff, and then the way I can showcase those songs is like through like I guess playing. But from a singing standpoint, I'm not really. I think when we started our group like years ago when I was first playing, when it was like these 3 guys in a basement. No one wanted to sing. So then I kind of just defaulted. So then I kind of just
everyone's looking at each other.
And I kind of just started doing it. And then my parents were like, "Oh, you should take some voice lessons." So I took voice lessons for maybe like a couple months in high school, and I was like trying to sing like Frank Sinatra and stuff. And it was just like
that just wasn't.
I don't know. I just like I had so much other stuff like going on, and I wasn't like interested in like. When you're young, you're just like, I want to do it now.
Right.
So yeah, like the singing lessons and guitar lessons, I didn't really take guitar lessons for like, I took guitar lessons, but most of the time I ended up spending in guitar lessons was the guy I was just like, I'm really not like interested in like getting good at guitar. Almost.
Did you say that to the guy?
Yeah, it kind of was like this thing, and he just knew like I wasn't, but I loved like music theory and stuff like that because I like to study like what songwriters did and certain songwriters and stuff and like know how they did it.
Yeah.
So I got really into guitar theory. My guitar teacher was like a whiz in like guitar theory or music theory. So he just taught me all this stuff and like chords, like structures and how things work and stuff like that. And so I kind of was like, oh, now like this whole world has been opened up.